Hey, I'm Gavin.
And I'm Johnny, and this is Behind the Beach Bars podcast.
We're the founders of the Beach Bars, a group of local bars here on the Sunshine Coast built with purpose and passion.
In this podcast, we're going to take you behind the scenes and tell you about our journey, our people, our partnerships, and how we run and operate this business.
It's for locals, for team, or for anyone who's curious into what goes on behind the scenes of building a business you believe in. All right, welcome to episode 6. So in hospitality, you can have the best food, the best drinks, the best view, but if you're missing one key element, it's all just going to flop and people aren't going to come back. And that special ingredient is hospitality. And so today we've got another special guest in here to the podcast joining us so that we can actually break down what hospitality actually is and what it means to give people a great experience when they're coming to the bars. So welcome, Kai.
Oh yeah, watch out, it's on. Thanks for coming.
So let's backtrack. We've got to start at the beginning. How did Kai come in to be with the Beach Bars?
Come to the Beach Bars. Funnily enough, it seems like everyone that comes to the Beach Bars has always got some crazy little story. But mine was I was trying to do a normal job. I was trying to do a Monday to Friday job. My heart and my soul was just dying inside because I was just like lying to myself because I'm just like to talk shit to people over tables and over bars, and I saw a job advertised down at a local, It
was like a kitchen hand.
Wasn't it? Yeah, literally, it was like a kitchen hand's job down at King's Beach Bar, and I was like, that's me. I'm just going to go and wash dishes, because that's all I really want to strive to is just like washing dishes 3 days a week and surfing. But no, that's how, and I literally saw the job, managed to score an interview, walked in the bar. I'd already been going to the bar because I used to ride the pushy down with my partner, and we'd polish off one or two wines and eat the honey baked brie, which is slowly disappearing off the menu, much to my dismay. But it will return, I promise you.
That's still a battle.
It's still, we haven't given up totally yet. But so I walked in the bar and there was Johnny and Caitlin sitting in the back corner, and it was basically like, you're not going to be working in the kitchen.
So I remember Caitlin called us up and she was like, I've just sent you his resume, look at it, he's out the front. Like, he's coming in for an interview. He's not in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like, he's not in the kitchen. And I was like, yeah. And I think I had, a trial that night, just 2 days a week, because that's all I really wanted, just to satisfy my soul, to get back into hospital. And
you were still doing your 9 to 5.
Yeah, I was still doing my 9 to 5, which was cutting grass.
7 to 3 or whatever.
Cutting grass, what a 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday.
How come, literally, it feels like everybody on the Sunshine Coast knows you? Where have you been before us?
Oh, look, I've worked in many places, It's from the early days of Mooloolaba Esplanade at Casablanca in the early days. I was with the Soul Bar group for quite some time when they moved Soul Bar from Coolum down to Maroochydore. So working
so you
with
were
them.
like the birth of Ocean Street.
Yeah, literally right there at the start when, it was late night crew and they were, going in and, doing the gardens at night because the council wouldn't give them permission, type thing. And, to the piano bar when it used to have the big U-shaped bar and there's jazz in the corner and shaking cocktails,
Ocean Street used to be the one strip club.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the main precinct.
Yeah, and then they tidied it up and made it all family-like, But, so I've just...
like this.
Yeah, it sort of is. It was for a little while anyway, it was very family-friendly and there were some great street festivals and, but I've just worked there, and then I was in Boston Shaker Bar down at the Wharf Complex, and I don't know, and just being born and bred, growing up on the Sunshine Coast, sort of run around and been a ratbag kid up on the sunny coast. I think a lot of people probably know of my family and especially my dad, and I've just probably just known through that a lot.
I came in, I went to piano bar once, and that would have been maybe 10, 11 years ago. It was before the Raw days. I think I just got back from England. And me and Caitlin went there, and you were the hosts, and you greeted us, seated us. And there's not many servers you remember, you've got to really make an impact and cut through. And the way you did it was just so professional. And, that's when your name came through. And when you walked in, I was like, get fucked. That's the dude from piano bar.
that guy from that bar. That's why forever I'll be remembered. It's going on my headstone. That guy from that bar. Be entertaining. But no, look, I've been around. I've travelled for a long time. I've worked in you know, lots of shitholes around the world into some amazing places around the world. And I've scrubbed toilets, I've worked in cocktail rooms, and
But it's been hospitality for life, right? Like,
yeah, born and bred into it. Yeah, my mum was in a restaurant in New Zealand in the early days, in a French restaurant, and started in that in the kitchens when I think it would have been maybe like 13. Yeah, I was like second year of high school.
So like 50 years ago now.
Yeah, 50, yeah, probably 52 years now, actually. Thanks, Gav, yeah. But, just washing dishes, you know, the dishwasher didn't turn up one day and they were like, oh, Mum was like, yeah, I've got a son sitting at home doing no homework, so he might as well come and wash dishes. I did that and then went through, and it was back when you didn't really do, you know, go to school to do apprenticeships and stuff, so, and then worked through that and did, you know, French cuisine and was in the kitchen for many years.
And so you started with us, you came in for a kitchen hand job, which didn't happen. We put you out the front straight away instead. How long ago was that? And talk us through from there through to today and what your role is now at the beach.
Time's not really my best forte, hence the reason why I set my clock 15 minutes fast, so I'm actually on time. So, look, I'd like to say 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But honestly, don't quote me on that. I'm really shit with time. It's not my best thing.
That makes about sense.
It
was just before COVID.
Yeah, it was just so you guys can figure that out.
Probably.
Yeah,
5-6 years.
Yes, the journey's been, you know, from walking in that door for that interview and, you know, seeing, you know, Caitlin. I remember Caitlin, you know, and sort of Johnny's smiley face. You know, Johnny's got this like grin that just, you know, like makes you just go, fucking hell, I'm just going to have fun doing this, whatever it is. But, you know, and then working in the bar, you know, straight away I just clicked. It was just one of those old style bars that are hard to find, where it's just everybody knows how to hustle and have fun, but also knows that there's a job to be done. But, you know, in all honesty, there was, you know, those early days I remember walking in and, you know, there's always a few people that, you know, you've got to set free so that, you know, they can go and work somewhere else. You know, and I think that was one of my things. I think after the first week or 2 weeks or whatever it was, you know, there was a couple of people that was just like, you know, they've got to go. You know, they just sit there and twirl their hair and chew gum and play on their phones. You know, they don't give a shit about anything to do with the bar. And, you know, for me, I quickly, you know, moved through the ranks, if you will, you know, or to a position of...
It was probably like 6 months into it, or three to 6 months into it, you went full time.
Yeah, I think that's when my relationship broke up. So yeah. No, I don't hold on to any of that. But yeah, I'm okay with it.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, it's all right. No, it wasn't that. It was all me. No. Look, I was, as I said earlier, you know, I was always lying to myself, trying not to be in hospitality. But eventually, I ended up, you know, 2 days turned into 3 days, and then it was like, well, you know, what are you really? I'm like, I'm at a job that I really, you know, could do better, and I'd love to get back in hospo. Ended up there and, took the bar and just, I don't know, I've always, you know, sort of come into a place and, you know, for me, hospitality is one of those things, you know, it's an extension of my lounge room, you know, and that's why I've always looked at it. It's like everyone there is my friends that are sitting there, and it's my job to make sure that they're having the friggin' best time possible, you know, and that is, hey, you've got an empty glass, let's get you another drink, or hey, you've got great food, let's get some great food out to you type thing. And I think that's what it is. And I truly love, and a lot of people say it, I truly, genuinely love what I do. You know, I'm in a, you know, as I said, you know, I've worked in many, many places. And for me, the beach bar, and it's what it summarises, is pretty much, you know, where my dream job is, you know, and we do a lot of leadership and training courses, and I remember one of them, you know, that we were asked, you know, oh, what's your, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what's your, you know, what's your dream? And I'm like, well, I'm already living my dream. You know, I don't need to think about what my dream is. I'm already doing it. You know, I live on one of the most beautiful parts of the world. You know, I've got a beautiful work-life balance that, you know, I can buy, you know, all the toys I wasn't allowed as a child. So, you know, like, and play with them on the beaches and the parks. And, you know, I go to work in an amazing environment that, you know, is honestly, some days you just go, am I actually working hard enough, you know, or should I be doing something, you know, a little bit more, you know? I shouldn't say that in front of Gav and Johnny, but...
That's so good. You know, what is hospitality to you, but also, given your role, what does hospitality mean for the beach bars? Specifically, like for the beach bar group, how would we define hospitality for us?
Look, for the beach bar, I think, you know, it's got to be, you know, we are there to show you and deliver, if you will, the ultimate Sunshine Coast dining experience. You know, we are the Sunshine Coast. I challenge anybody to show us a more Sunshine Coast bar than what the beach bars are. We've got, the locations are nailed. We sit right there on beaches overlooking water. We've got a group of people that work for us, whether it's front of house, back of house, to the management, that are just enjoying every moment of their work life. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yes, we'd all have to work at times, but we all laugh, we all smile together, we all cry together, we all support each other. It's genuinely a giant family, you know, with 95 to 80 to 95 kids and adults, you know, variable adults, but yeah, mostly kids. But it is, I can't say enough. As I said, I've worked in a lot of places, and there's not many that encapsulate.
You've got all these values or personality traits that we love, customers love, the business loves, in terms I'm talking about being genuinely passionate about the product, the service that you're putting out, genuine about making sure people have a wonderful experience, but you're also quite cheeky, warm, connectable with everybody. Yep. How do you go about, you're the leader of the front of house across all the venues. How do you go about distilling those qualities into the team? Is that something they have to come with, or is it something you're training people on?
I think it's something that we definitely probably, Johnny sort of probably backs up a little bit, or, talk about it a bit more as well, is that we sort of, you can show people and you can train in certain aspects. I can show you how to carry a tray of glasses. I can show you how to put ice into a glass and, whatnot. But what you can't actually show people and train them as such is to actually make people feel welcome and part of the bar. Mm. It's a really, really unique thing to have in a restaurant, bar, cafe. And I think we've all walked into places and just gone, no one really cares here, and...
So much of it comes down to someone's natural personality, like their comfort zone. And when I think it comes to like an exceptional hospitality experience, you can teach them all you want, but it has to be within. Like, they have to genuinely care. They have to genuinely want them to have a great experience. And you can say it 1,000 times, but unless it's part of their personality.
But also recognising that, I think, and that's where ourselves, without blowing smoke up our, is that we can see that in people, whether it's a junior that comes on board, and we've got juniors out the front, or they're not juniors anymore, but, like Jackson, who started at Kings Beach. I think he was 15 when he started. The guy could barely see over the bar, he could barely get...
Still barely
see.
Yeah,
he's okay, yeah. But he could, he had this voice that was like so timid and frightened.
Quiet and timid
and so quiet. But now he's running a full functioning Friday night cocktail bar, moved up to Cotton Tree, and like the guy is, watching your children, or I don't have kids, but watching them grow from like this little timid sort of shy that was so like, you'd have to sort of be really sort of hey, look, I'm just going to come and talk to you. Right through to professionals that walk in the door that are but in honesty, sometimes I love to see people like Jackson, because they're the people that you just see this growth. And we've had over the years people that come in and they're like, oh, I'm a barista, I make coffee and I need $43 an hour and I won't run drinks and I only make smoothies, where they're the ones that we just go, hey, we're not the place for you, because we are a family, we are a team, and
It's the service comes first.
Yeah.
The product and the technique and all that can be taught.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
if you can't deliver the service, then you're not the right fit.
Can you think of an example that comes to mind? Think of a team member, but a specific example where you're just like, fuck, just nailed it. They just nailed the hospitality experience there.
Yeah, can think of a few,
Lottie was a big one for me at Cotton Tree.
Lottie.
She was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Infectious. You could hear her laugh before you even pulled up at the bar.
Yeah.
And you'd just be like welcomed in by just her, but we've got so many, to Bridget that works here with us now.
Yeah.
You got Marley up at Coolum. They just are this, you walk into the bar and instantly you just go, wow, how, and it's not really something you can really train. It's something that you can sort of definitely nurture and give them pointers and show them some skills that will bring them through, but they've either got that drive and that hospitality love or been butchered by hospitality to still want to go with it.
It's a bit of an art form. Like you've got to be able to read the person, the customer, as they come in. Like where are they sitting on the level?
Body language,
Yeah.
eye contact,
Yep.
energy, everything.
Yeah. I mean, someone coming in after a funeral, you're not going to want to pick them up to the point of 10, let's go out to Ocean Street after.
Exactly.
Maybe they just want some quiet time, but you've just got to read it.
Yeah, it's being able to read, body language, sort of, and, match their energy level, as Johnny just said, someone coming from a funeral or wake, you're not going to greet him, but hey, what's happening, guys? How's your day, mate? You're going to be like, sit down, grab a seat, let me just...
Should I get you this quieter table?
Yeah, I've got a nice one in the back corner, like, what can I get for you? I'll get you some water, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
And that's the tricky thing about hospo is so many people come through at 15, 16 years old and they're meant to have all this understanding and give them that sort of experience. And it's like, how can you do that at 15, 16? Like that's why there's so many struggling Ma and Pa cafes with juniors out the front that go under.
Because you're putting, in hospitality business, you're putting your whole business in the hands of juniors.
Kai, you're now not just working in one bar. You're now the leader across 3 bars.
Yep.
So, we're trying to spread the Kai special sauce over multiple venues now.
Jeez, that sounds terrible. But it's so true.
How do you, what's your approach to coaching and mentoring the teams? And are you just focusing on the leaders, the whole teams, or what's your approach to that?
I spend a lot of time in the bars, and I've always got an open door policy. I talk to all the staff. They can talk to me about their ups, their downs, any of the issues, but I still relate straight back to our venue managers and our supervisors on premises and go, hey, I was speaking to so-and-so and like this was, so maybe you want to have that conversation. So I always try to, it's always something that I'm learning on as well, is, just empowering the venue managers to deal with whatever it might be that is arising in that venue. Because as, sort of Johnny, Glenn, all of us know you can't be there for everyone all the time. But I think, it is really just, out front of the house, they need an ear to have a moan and a whinge and a bicker too. There is that, we're all brothers and sisters, so to say, and, there is a lot of banter that goes on, and it's learning how to sort of control the banter and, pass it through without it becoming an issue. And, but the training, we've got amazing venue managers from Leo at Cotton Tree, Jesse up at Coolum and Maddie down at Kings, that are just, they know how to sort of, they know their staff well. And, sort of, I generally spend a lot of time with them, but if, sort of picking on...
What gives you confidence that they are keeping the consistency when you're not there?
Look, sort of, I think that, you've got to learn to just trust what you've put in. Otherwise, you spend all 15 hours a day within the venues, which, I'm guilty of in the early days. I definitely sort of spent a lot of time going, if I'm not there, it's not going to be right.
There's a huge amount of letting go. Like you said, the trust and being able to let go and be like, they're capable, they've got this.
Yeah, they are capable, and don't get us wrong, there is still things that come up week after week, but it's how, okay, it's Monday or it's Tuesday, what's come up, how do we identify it, how do we then move forward on this, who do we need to talk to, so it's learning to know that nobody's perfect basically, and that we're all going to make mistakes, and we are going to get feedback about things, because if you're not getting negative feedback, you're probably not getting the right customers, because nobody's going to get 3,000 people a week and not
get 5 stars
and get 5 stars, without getting, their own, 15 friends just to put up the reviews for them. Because
that's where
I think it's important, like the weekly check-ins as well with the venue managers, to be able to just understand the general consensus and vibe of the group. Is there any issues? Like, we can assist them that way. But there's...
Yeah. You touched on the 5 stars there in the reviews and stuff. Like, how much does that actually play a role in your life? Like, do you just ignore it as if they're keyboard warriors, you don't care, or do you really actually monitor the reviews and take them to heart and do things about them?
It used to cut me up big time in the first couple of years, until I became at peace with the fact that this is hospo and you're not going to get it right 100% of the time. Not only that, you're not going to be the right venue for that person that came in that day. Yeah. That's not a reflection on us. That's...
they chose the wrong place.
I mean, just to Google some of the best restaurants in the world, no one's at 5.
No.
You know, so that kind of makes me feel okay with it. But definitely with the negative feedback, you're taking it as an opportunity to learn. Like, you understand what the issue is. Could we have done better? If we could, how could have we done better? And then you sort of learn from it.
Yeah, I'm the same as Johnny. You know, I used to religiously look at all the reviews, and you know, it would cut you up because I'd take everything. I still do take things very personally. You know, if someone says that this and this, and it's my failure. It's not so and so or any of the venue managers or supervisors. It's my failure because I haven't provided them the platform that they needed to be able to be successful in that. So I still do, but I've learned how to deal with it over the years. But yeah, I don't look at them. We've got an amazing back of the house team that will, if there's anything that majorly needs addressing out of our reviews, that will definitely, sends it on to us. So we go, hey, Yulia. But also we've got an amazing bunch of customer base that, you know, I just had over the weekend. You know, a lady had an experience up at one of our bars in at the north, so up at Coolum, and she tracked down my number through one of our staff at another venue. So she went all the way down to Coolum, Cotton Tree, to find the manager down there and said, can I get Kai's number? And, you know, I was like, yeah, sure, give it out. And just to ring me up to go, hey, you know, look, I had a dish up there and it wasn't the same as I had it 3 weeks ago. I don't want to put a review up or anything. I just want you guys. So our customers are amazing as well because they want us to be what we know we are, and that when something's not successful or they didn't have it right, they, you know, I live in the community down at Kings Beach, and I walk constantly down there with the dog, and I'm always people, hey, I was down there the other day and this and this and this, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, thanks for letting us know, but leave me alone, you know, type thing. I'm just trying to chill out.
I think reviews are just a necessary evil in this industry. Like, you can learn from it, and it does dictate the quality of your venue, is that rating.
Yeah.
I think the most disappointing type of review is when you get someone who's like, I've come in here 6-7 times and I've had such a good experience every time, but this time was so subpar. And you're getting a 1 star. It's like, what about the 6 other times you came in and said it was amazing? But you just want to slam me with this 1 star this one time. Like, that's probably the frustrating one, I think.
Yeah. How do you balance, you know, you talk about hospitality being like good service, good experience, but when it gets busy, those peak hours, you're throwing in a time element to it as well. How do you navigate that triangle of what's important in terms of speed, time, quality?
Yeah, well, that's a good. It's a fine balance, that one. You know, like off peak periods to peak periods, you definitely have to focus on what is your priority. But I think, you know, our key priority is always communication with the customers, whether it's pumping full house. If you're clear at the time that people order, hey, look, we're full tonight, you know, it might be a 30, 35 minute wait on the food. We cook everything to order, you know, nothing's pre-cooked off. But, you know, and also, you know, you can't compromise too much on your quality, but it is a really fine line. You know, we've got this thing on our back walls, you know, we've got our values and a little system called Napconomics, and on there is our own triangle, and there's an off-peak version and an on-peak version, which hopefully all the staff do look over. So if you guys are listening to this, can you please have a good look over it? You know, but that one, you know, really identifies what ones, whether it's front of the house or back of the house, that, you know, what we will compromise at each time. Obviously, you know, you just wrapped them up, you know, sort of quality, speed, you know, and it's a big thing, you know, it's a really fine line to what. And even when you put one behind the other, it's only literally, you know, like, I'm not saying that's not important, that's still important, but...
it's it's an order of your top 3 priorities at that time.
Yeah.
You know, and when you get to a 45 minute wait in the kitchen,
Yeah.
priority speed.
Yeah.
You know, like it has to be.
Get it out the door.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want, you know, one of my favourite sayings over the bar or at anyone is, you're only as good as your last dish or your last drink you put up.
If you wouldn't serve it to your mum, don't serve it.
Don't put it up. It is, and that's like, even though we say, hey, speed's your number one thing right now because it's Friday night at 7 o'clock and you've got dockets up there and you've got cocktails coming out here, you've got soft drinks and whatnot. It's a balance, but I think, but that's where the team mentality really kicks in, from the host, and just being able to communicate to people and go, hey, we are, busy at the moment. If you can't see that every restaurant, the whole place is full. Just in case you're blind. No, you're not blind actually. You're just sitting down and you're relaxing, which is amazing. That's what we want you to do. So,
We're like responsible for hiring the team. Anybody who comes and joins us at the front of the house.
Yep.
If someone's listening to this and they're like, I want to get involved in this team, like what are the attributes of that person that you want? And if someone's, got certain other attributes, we don't want them. Like what's on your kind of list of who's in or who's out?
Well, for me, who's in is somebody that knows how to enjoy, first of all, life and just smile at the little things, which is that. But then, also bringing some of the skill sets, whether it's bar, coffee, front of the house, but being able to talk to people freely is probably my number one attribute, is
being
like
a people's person, especially front of house.
Yeah, people's person, like can you sit down and have a conversation with myself or go for a walk out the front along the beachfront and can we just talk some rubbish? That's
always
word.
For me been the thing I love watching when you've been working is like how you're able to build a relationship with everybody who's in the room. As you're going around, you're kind of having a different chat with each table, but there's that banter or relationship that you're building with each step along the way. Like,
maybe it's not the people he's having a chat with. Maybe it's his internal demons.
Definitely my demons. Definitely my demons. I just project it out onto everyone else.
But it is an art. It's like having the confidence to talk to strangers and connect within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's a really hard thing to be able to do. Like you need a lot of confidence and you need to be able to read the person and you got to relate to something to be able to connect to them.
Yeah, you got to have some sort of It's a funny thing, because in my work environment, work professional life, if you want to call it that, I definitely can do that. But it's really funny in my personal life. I tend to be a little bit more, stay at home and just talk to my dog Toby, sort of thing.
But you're even like we've had a few surfs together, me and Kai, and we'll be in the lineup, and he's just chatting to like 4 or 5 other people, and I was like, "Oh, you know them? Oh, no. Just met him."
Everyone's got a story, and it's like sort of I want to know everyone's little story because you just never know where that story could go, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
One day I'll have a book and the stories will be in it.
If you could wave the magic wand and just fix something in the business or change something for the future of it, what would that be? Or maybe a different question to answer is thinking about the future of hospitality in the beach bars. What does that look like?
Look, the future for the beach bars is, first of all, for me, for the beach bars, it's giving our baby down at Kings Beach it's long-awaited love, and that's giving, which we're in the process of doing, is an upgrade of some of the bits and pieces behind the scenes. That's been something that's been just...
It needs a facelift.
It needs a facelift, but that's the beauty of Kings is it's this proper beach bar. I always say that Kings Beach is the beach bar and then the other one's beach clubs. And then a nice clean and polished and beach bar down at Kings is like low slung, sand on the floor. You can barely close the door because there's just grit and sand in all the runners. It's part of the beauty of the place. But, waving a magic wand, I don't know if I'd change too much. I love the trajectory that we're on and I love seeing where it goes with, yourself, Johnny, Gavin and Matt, where you lead it. It's part of the adventure. I'm not really a big planner in the forward part of my life. I'd like to take it all as it comes along.
Very much live in the present.
Yeah, I'm a real live in the present type person. I'm not a, I think that, plans are great, but they usually don't work out. you know, pessimist bastard. But, you know, but no, I live for the moment. You know, I'm a real live for the moment type of guy. If I want to go and do it, I go and do it. You know, I go on my surf trips each year overseas, and I think about it for like 9 months, but I buy the ticket like 5 days before I go overseas, you know, because, you know, that's how I travel, you know, that's how I plan, you know, right, I'm going, you know, like type thing. But, yeah, there's not much, you know, honestly, at the beach bars, you know, besides the King's Beach, I would not change a lot. You know, I love where it is. And I said earlier, it's one of my dream jobs. You know, I've worked in a lot of dream jobs, but nothing has actually been the dream job, you know, so.
If there was a fourth venue, what would it be?
Fourth venue? Oh, I don't know. You and me were down the Goldie the other week, and, you know, we were just, you know, drinking water all night, and we had a really good breakfast somewhere. And I after sitting there, I reckon that I reckon the Goldie would be a fun little venture. Yeah, I reckon the Goldie would be, that's the Gold Coast, to anyone that doesn't know what the Goldie is. But the Broadbeach looked like a fun little venue. Yeah. Like wildly.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
as soon as we walked in there, I was like, oh my.
But you know, my heart would always say, obviously Indo, so that I can just go and surf every day. But you know, work and surf. But no, definitely the Goldie's an interesting one.
Is there anyone in the crew, like in your team, you want to give a shout out to?
Look, you know, the classic thing is all of them. But you know, for me, it's going to be, you know, your backbones. You know, your people like your Sophie at Cotton Tree that has just worked her way through and holds down, you know, the front of the house with the cogs and keeps that bar just at this like perfect like running level. Although she is at the back of the pile out of the three lately because the other guys are just excelling at Dylan down at Kings. And
Ashton's a big one.
Ashton up at Coolum, you know, phenomenal. You know, he's stepped into this role, never done it before, and he just wants to eat everything that you just want to put in front of him. You know, I think it's probably
he's hungry. He's willing to learn.
All the stuff. There's not a single one that I'd really sort of single out. You know, but some of our juniors are phenomenal as well. You know, like some of the, you know, up at Coolum, some of our juniors up there. Yeah, their work ethic at that age is, you know, like, you know, makes me just smile and go, wow. You know, there is still hope out there for the world. Yeah. You know?
Tell me about attracting a team.
Attracting a team, you know, like we do have a lot of staff that leave us at the beach bar and, you know, go and work somewhere else, go on a holiday.
Just the nature of hospitality, right?
They're
young people, they want to go overseas.
Yeah, exactly. And we always encourage at the beach bar. We never say, oh, you can't, you know, we need you to do this. We always encourage everybody to go and live their lives because we certainly have all three of us sitting at this table have all gone over there and lived our lives. Yeah. And but they always come back. That's what I think is one of the great things. They always come back. But there's always space for more people that want to just enjoy working in hospitality, provide, you know, that exceptional experience with that special touch, you know, and just wanting to actually relate to the people that are coming in and spending the money, spending their hard-earned dollars that they've worked all week for, come in to buy a drink, to buy a meal, sit in that beautiful view of ours and, you know, experience what our staff can offer. And if anyone's out there that really wants to come and provide that for a customer, we've always got an opening for you. We'll find an opening for you. But if you're just a run-of-the-mill person, there's plenty of other places that will employ you.
Yeah, we'll sack someone to find.
Yeah, hell yeah. I've got, easily.
All right, there you have it. That was our journey into front of house hospitality, the beach bars. Next episode, we've got a couple of our key suppliers coming to talk to us about
their products. And how we support local products.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend
and follow us on socials.